Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Pica TV Presents Generating a Positive ROI and ROO. This is all part of our educational mini-series. And today, I'm your host, Paul Zaffarana with Pica Marketing Group. We're going to discuss generating a positive ROI and positive ROO. And what that means for your clients and our clients and what they're looking for. As far as we look at these pieces and projects, clients are looking for two major components: creativity and measurement. What does that mean? What drives that measurement? So, as a salesperson and marketing person, we have to establish what it means to make the campaign both measurable and memorable. So, setting the expectations up front. What does everybody think it's going to do? Is it going to generate a 1 to 3% return rate, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40% response rate? An average direct mail piece usually gets 1 to 3%. And some of the programs we put together are anywhere from 10 to 50%, if not more. So establishing those metrics up front is really going to help you figure out how and what the expectations are of the program. So asking a lot of questions up front. Does this program, what do you need to know? Who's the target audience? What's the messaging going on? Is there an overall theme to it? As far as, do you take a shotgun approach to it? Do you go, all right, we're going to a trade show and we want to have, 10,000 people stop by your booth? What does that mean? How's your booth staffed? How is your event staffed? Are you able to handle the influx of calls? That all helps determine what you want to give away as well. So having your budget in there, because the ROI, return on investment, and ROO are all going to play into that. So figuring out what that measuring stick is, because at the end of the day, if the expectation is to have a 20% response rate on a program, it's our job as marketers to have that conversation with our clients so that you want them to look good as well as yourself. Because at the end of the day, everybody has to report up the chain of command to make sure that their investment in that program, albeit a trade show, direct mail piece, brand launch, all those good things, is a success. And how do you measure that? Establishing a good set of communication up front is going to be exactly where that goes to and comes from. So in a recent article in B2B magazine, the chief marketing officers of a major U.S. companies are asked, what are the key factors you look for in a strategic partner? And the answer they came back with are creativity and the ability to measure the success of their marketing spend, drilling down to the ROI and ROO. In addition, it was stated that these same CMOs were challenged and even compensated on their ability to drive this matrix. So what if you could, in your position, work with somebody who thought that same way? The marketing spend, whatever dollar amount that is, goes towards the end result. Some folks out there are willing to spend a couple of bucks up to a couple $1,000s on a new prospect. Don't let what somebody else's budget dictate what you think should happen. If you're looking at a large city or government contract, those may be opportunities or areas where you spend tens of thousands of dollars on getting that ROI to get that one contract that's worth multi-millions or hundreds of millions of dollars. Whereas if you don't want to have that same metric in there, maybe you spend a couple of bucks to get that lead in. So what is ROI? ROI is your return on your investment. You're going to spend X amount of dollars to get a good result on it. And it gives you the ability to see if you were able to, at the end of the day, make it a worthwhile investment. So if you were to do, let's say, a trade show, I know everybody's saying trade shows, what are those anymore? But if you're doing a trade show and you want to drive traffic to get at the trade show, you may spend just on the promotional side of it a couple of bucks. Let's just say in our instance, it's $50,000. You've also got the cost of your staff going there. You've got the booth rental, the booth build, and everything else that goes into it. So our portion of that dollar spend is a fraction of what the overall marketing budget spend is for that event. And we have to drive that traffic to the booth. So while the marketing spend is $50,000, the overall show spend could be $500,000. So the CMOs and CFOs in a lot of instances want to see if that was really worth it to spend the money on the show. So you go through and you pull together your budget for it, your plan. Maybe it's some direct mail pieces, some email blasts, and you may find out that it's a 3-day show, but you have 8 staff members there. Coming to somebody and saying, hey, I need 50,000 $1 items to hand out at a show because the show's got 50,000 people coming to it. The reality, that's not really well. You're going to end up falling flat in your face, which nobody wants. So how do you do that? How do you build that into the program? You sit back and look at the $50,000 and you readjust that budget. Again, how many people are at the booth? There's 8 people at a show for 3 days. There's 8-hour shows. That in and of itself, an average conversation is 10 to 15 minutes. How many people can you actually handle at that booth? That's a big deal. Making sure your folks are well dressed, it's well lit, and are attentive to folks coming through there. You want to give them a good reason to come into the show or whatever your event is. I'm using a show in this example. The next part of that is you're going to have stuff in there for your investment for folks that are going to come by the booth. We call them the scoopers, the trick-or-treaters that want to get all their goodies and they fill their bag up. They're not really good leads. But a way to get an ROI on that is you do some pre-planning. You find out who the show leads are. You detail out who those folks are in there and you really target them. So you readjust the marketing spend inside of there for some of it for the tire kickers and trick-or-treaters. And then also what that means for them, from the positive leads they're going to get out of it. Maybe you don't target all 50,000. Maybe you target 1,000 people that are there. You do a search by title and job description in there, and you target those 1,000 and spend a little bit more on getting them to your booth because they're, at the end of the day, your decision makers. They're the ones that are going to increase your revenue. They're going to increase your sales numbers. So it's a different way to think about how to actually spend the money because those CMOs and CEOs and CFOs want to see if their marketing dollars are working. There's digital ways to do that. There's also the in-person ways and direct mail ways and promotional products. So we're a good arrow in that quiver when it comes to that stuff. So what is ROO? That's the objectives, right? Why do you want to do that? Return on opportunity, return on objective. So what are you trying to get at the end of the day? Are you trying to, maybe you get 25 new prospects that come out of this. Maybe you're trying to get 100. If you find out at that objective is to get that number, whatever it is, you may want to find that their potential for sales for any one new lead that comes into your company, that may be 50, 100, $1 million of potential new business. So the objective at the end of the day is to add on a handful of new clients. Maybe it's more than that. But once you see what their spend is, you'll find out that you want to spend potentially a little bit more when you understand who your customer actually is. So taking the time to dig into it at the end of the day is a big, big deal. You really need a plan for what you're going to do in there. So a case history project for the Aspen Hill Country Club, they were looking for a way to get more registrants and members for the club. So what they were doing was falling flat on their face. Folks weren't coming in. They weren't getting turnover and revenue to get folks to sign up. So a program was put together where they sent out the tennis ball, and it's a tennis ball and a membership card, getting folks to better understand what would be involved in becoming a member of the club. As you can see, it's got some clever verbiage in there, but also that program right there, once it was targeted on who their buyers were, who the members of the club they saw from a demographic standpoint, this piece went out and it generated a 75% response rate. That's 75 new members for that client. While that doesn't seem like a whole lot for, any kind of club, at 75 new members, that's $1.5 million in projected returns. So that membership fee and rate really, really set the bar for new members coming into it. So with that being said, having a plan, following the plan, understanding what your target is, because if you don't have a plan, failure to plan is planning to fail. So lay it out, set your objectives, and if you want to hear more, this is Paul Zaffarana with Pica Marketing Group on Pica TV. Check out some of our other mini-series that we have coming up, the creative campaigns. We've got solutions, maximizing employee engagement, utilizing the event calendar for maximum success, creatively mining for new clients, policing and protecting your brand, and building successful marketing campaigns. Be sure to check them out. These brief little 10, 15-minute webisodes are here for you. Feel free to share them with your friends. Again, my name is Paul Zaffarana with Pica Marketing Group. Feel free to reach out to me at picamarketinggroup.com or any of the numbers you see on the screen here. Thanks for coming out today and spending a little bit of time with us. We'd love to hear more about what you need and how we can help your efforts. We want to make you shine.